This one's going to be kind of weird, man. So you guys have seen about P. Diddy. Sean Combs, rap mogul, just had his houses raided for allegedly running a sex trafficking ring. And you have all of these rappers in the entertainment industry, secular rappers nonetheless, sharing all the crazy stuff that he's done behind the scenes to take advantage of them. And it's just this massive mess. And this sort of exposing of the darkness of Hollywood has been happening for a long time now, but it's happening a lot recently, I feel like. But this caught me by surprise. Lecrae, who is known as a Christian rapper, probably more so in the previous years of his career, where he was like all about preaching the gospel through his rap. Now I think he would identify more as a Christian who raps in the entertainment industry. You can have your opinions about that. I have my opinions about that as well. I'll share my opinions probably more fully in a second, but here he is. He's actually coming out and publicly saying that he has actually attended some of these P. Diddy parties. You're not going to want to miss what he has to say. So let's listen to what he has to say here, and then I'll share my thoughts at the end of this. This is going to be wild.
I've been to a couple Diddy parties. Now, I'm risking a lot by saying this because I know as soon as I say that, all the assumptions are going to come in and if I don't say evil things were taking place, then I'm covering for them. And if I do say evil things were taking place, then I'm one of them ones like, yeah, Lecrae, expose it. You know what I'm saying? And I've been to lots of parties. I've been to Jamie Foxx. I've been with Snoop, T.I. Like, I've been to lots of places. Here's what I'll say. There are people who will test you. There are people who will see how far your limits are. And if you're willing to take a step, then they'll take two. I, in my personal experience, never saw anything where someone was like, you can't move any further unless you do X, Y, or Z. But what I did see was if you do X, Y, or Z, well, keep coming. Because and that's how we all are. It's Psalm 1, right? It says, blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the...
That barely made sense. I'm trying to follow here. He's saying, so he goes to these parties and he's not even talking about the type of stuff that they're saying or making people do. He's saying, yeah, some people will what does he say? That is some of the most cryptic stuff I've ever heard. What did he say?
You can't move any further unless you do X, Y, or Z. But what I did see was if you do X, Y, or Z, well, keep coming because and that's how we all are. It's Psalm 1, right? It says, blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, who does not stand in the way of sinners, who does not sit in the seat of mockers. You start walking, they gonna walk with you, and now you find yourself standing. They like, oh, you stand? Well, if you stand, come sit. Now, next thing you know, you're sitting. And so,
all right. I'm tracking with what he's saying with that Psalm 1 component. It's like if you're moving and you're going about life, and you're walking with people that are doing crazy stuff, and you're about that life, you'll eventually stop walking and you'll stand with them and you'll take time. And then eventually you'll actually start sitting with them. Like you will plant yourself with them. But the idea is if you're not about that life, you'll keep on walking. You're going to walk past that stuff. You're not going to continue to walk with people that are walking that direction. So he is being a little bit cryptic here, but he said, I guess if you want to be open and honest about it, if people are in the entertainment industry, you gotta dress like a woman, or you got to sleep with this person, or sleep with this minor, or whatever. Like that, these are the things that people say, right? These are also the things that Diddy has been allegedly accused of doing. So he's saying that he hasn't had an experience where people were like, If you want to move forward with your career, you need to do this stuff. But if you're down to do this stuff, then come do this stuff with us. I'm guessing that's what he's alluding to here.
It was never a situation where I felt forced to sit. It was a situations where I was asked, do you stand? Do you stand? And I'm like, I don't stand. Oh, okay, cool. And then I was left alone. It's like, oh, he's not about that life. He's not with it. I'm leaving him alone. And this is what I'll say, and I won't say whose party I was at or what party, but this is a crazy situation, right? I was at one of these parties, and for me, I'll be honest, there's a mix of work, because this is oftentimes where you go to connect with people, where you go to meet people. And I have met people here, and I have built bonds, and they have said, I have met actors and celebrities who said, man, thank you for being here. I needed your presence here. You're the reason why I know God is walking with me. And we've had conversations since where they're like, man, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Because how you going to be a light if you never in the dark? Now, if you cannot handle being in the dark, stay up out of certain places. Don't play tug of war by yourself. I never went to these events by myself. I was always with people who were walking in the light, and we always had a mission. It was never just to go in there and wild out and be stupid. But
that is interesting to me, because I mean, I'm reading a lot of the comments from people who are talking about these clips from Lecrae. And by the way, I haven't listened to a Lecrae song in years. And I've had some concerns about the direction that he's gone in, and I've had some concerns about things that he said from a political standpoint, things that I just don't agree with, but I haven't really gone that deep. And the last thing I want to do is be put on record creating a video bashing somebody about things that I know nothing about. I don't really want to bash anybody anyway. I'll bash ideas, I'll bash demonic doctrine, but I don't want to bash people. But what he's saying here, I like what he's saying. Like, if all we do is condemn darkness, but you and I are not actually going out into that dark world and trying to seek and save those who Jesus paid a high price to save. I mean, that's what obviously we don't do the saving. Jesus came to do the saving, but he came to seek and save those who were lost. And he was accused of hanging with people that were in the dark world. And he makes a great point. When he went to these places, this is what he's saying. When he was going into these parties, he wasn't going there alone. He wasn't going there without some sort of support system, and he went on mission. Now, was he totally on mission? Only God knows. I don't know. But I do believe that what he's saying, there's merit in what he's saying. There's a lot of merit in what he's saying. Now, there's certain places that you have no business going at all. Like, let me just say straight up, do not go on mission to a strip club. You stay away from that. Stay away from that. That's not going to help you. Now, if you got a group of people and you want to minister to the ladies outside as they're leaving, and you're above reproach, awesome. But don't go into that club with the intention of being on mission. That's just weird. That's just super weird. You're going to that's just bad. Should he have been at those parties? I don't know. I don't know if he should have been at those parties per se. In general, I agree. We got to have people in the entertainment industry. We got to have people in these places in general. Is being at one of these parties where this sort of stuff is happening risky? Clearly risky.
The other side of the coin is, yes, if I'm a human, so I'm frail. I'm gonna be honest with you. There was moments for me of like, oh my gosh, I'm here. I'm part of the crew. Like, look at me. Yes, I struggle with acceptance and wanting to be associated with greatness. And I got caught up in some of that nonsense internally, right? But you would have never known that. What I will say is at one particular party, lots of big names, there was an artist there who said, hey, Lecrae, around 1 a.m., make sure you're not here. And I was like, what? You just don't want to be here at 1 in the morning. And I was like, Now, my pride kicked in like, yo, you don't know me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can handle myself. Like, I'm not some little church boy who ain't never seen nothing. Like, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what you talking about? Well,
I don't like that response, but I like that he's acknowledging that was a prideful response, right? And sure, like, anybody could kind of have a response like that in a moment of pride, but it's like, it's crazy. I think one thing that I just hate, honestly, is this kind of shame that Christians carry of like, I don't want to be known as like a good Christian or whatever because it's lame and da-da-da. We're not like, we need to be out. If we want to go influence these people, we need to play at their level. Like, I just reject that. Man, we as Christians, we're the head and not the tail, man. God has set us to be above and not below. He's made us the light of the world, and we should not put a basket over our head. We are called to be the salt of the earth, preserving the world from decay. There's nothing that a Christian should be ashamed of. There's like, you should not be ashamed of being somebody that's like, yeah, I'm going to clock out tonight at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock because I got a family that I care about that's depending on me, and I'm not going to be caught up in this business. I'm going to go home. Or I care too much about my mission. I care too much about my ministry, and I'm not going to throw it in the ditch by being involved in something that's going to compromise everything, man. So I appreciate what he's saying, because I know that he was saying that he had that prideful attitude and he humbled himself. So hats off to you for that. But in general, I hate that. I hate that. I hate the mentality of Christians where it's like, oh, like, I hope somebody likes me. It's like, no, man, we're supposed to be the leaders in culture. We're supposed to set the tone. We're supposed to set the temperature. And we got the thing that everybody wants that they're searching for in all the wrong places. We got the thing that everybody needs that they don't have language for. We should not be ashamed of what we have. We should be proud of what God has given us, not boasting in ourselves, not boasting in our flesh, but boasting in what Jesus paid for, because it is the hope of the world. Can I get an amen from somebody in the comments?
Probably 12:30. I'm downstairs. I go downstairs to the studio. I come up out the studio, and I'm headed back upstairs to like the main area where everyone's kind of congregating and hanging out. And the music changed. It was like really hard and heavy at first, and then, you know, like jam and dancing music. And it was a little softer. You know, it was a little more sensual when I came out the studio and started going upstairs. And on my way upstairs, there's like this couch. I won't say how the couch is designed, because then that may give away whose party and whose house this was. There was a couch, and on the couch, I saw a couple of guys really going at it hard and heavy. And man, and I was like, oh,
that's us. I know Jesus paid for everybody's sin. I know that all people have sinned, and sexual sin is like, whether you're heterosexual or not, but that's just crazy. That would make me sick to see.
You know, my brain, I'm thinking, well, you know, the celebrity party, people do what they do. As I started moving upstairs, I passed them up, and I noticed that it wasn't just those two guys. It was more and more people just going at it. I was like, okay, it's time for me to roll. I'm going to grab my stuff and I'm going to get up out of here. I did not know that's how this went down. So was that shocking? Absolutely. Was I forced or coerced into anything? I was not. But why they felt that comfortable, I don't know. Maybe the invite list, they was like, yeah, all these people. I don't know. I'm shocked that it went down. But I've been to another situation, another person's party, celebrity party, and
so first of all, if I were him, I probably wouldn't put people's names on blast either. I wouldn't put. I don't think I would. Because is that illegal behavior? No. Is it sus behavior? For sure. But I don't think it's worth putting people on blast for something like that. But that's crazy. I would not want to be in that situation.
You know, a celebrity tapped me on my shoulder about this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Hey, have you guys heard of Lecrae? I just came across him on YouTube, and for some weird reason, he's trending on YouTube because he said that he attended Diddy's parties. He said that he was compelled to speak up because if he didn't, he would look like he was hiding something.
This, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
Anywho, we're going to wrap it up there. But here's what I would say. I have no problem calling out sin. I have no problem saying, what does the Bible say? And let's live according to what the Bible says. But what I don't love is throwing people under the bus that I really don't know that personally at all. So I can't judge things about Lecrae's life that I don't know personally, and nor do I want to. But I will say this. I think it's unwise for anybody who is a Christian to put themselves in scenarios like that. The first time, if something like that happens and you had no idea, it's like, okay, mistake made, don't make that mistake again. But if you continue to go to parties, and it sounded like he said he's been to a few parties where stuff like that has happened, I'm like, yo, like the first time, I get it. But after that, Christians in general, we got to be so careful about where we're putting ourselves, because the Bible also says it doesn't matter if you go somewhere where something's happening and you don't do anything. It says flee the appearance of evil. And you can do what you want. You're free to do what you want, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to have consequences. And for a guy like Lecrae, my concern for someone with that level of influence, and God has clearly given him a gift for God's purposes. It's really like the more God gives you, the more he's going to require from you. And I would just encourage anybody that everyone has a calling in God. But if you really take your calling seriously, you need to make some decisions about where you're going to show up and where you're going to go and where you're not going to go. And I would recommend not going to parties like that at all, regardless of whether or not you get out early enough or whatever. And here's the final thing that I would say, just in regards to being, whether it's like, I don't call myself a Christian rapper, I'm a rapper and I'm a Christian, or I don't call myself a Christian businessman, I'm a businessman and a Christian. For me personally, man, I'm done compartmentalizing my life. I don't have this thing that I do over here and it's just my job, and then I have my Christian thing over here. To me, it's all the same thing. And I don't want to be ashamed of being a Christian. In fact, I want everybody to know that I'm a Christian. I want to be labeled as a Christian personally. You've probably observed that with the content that I put out. I want to stand out. And as I stand out, that's not going to mean that I'm going to withdraw myself from people and getting to know people and caring for people. But I don't want to blend in with the world. I want to stand out. I want people to understand, hey, I'm here. And I represent a different kingdom. I'll love you. I want to teach you about this kingdom. I want to demonstrate this kingdom to you. And if that's a reason for people to say like, no, we're not going to talk to you at all, then so be it. But I'm not going to take that and put it on the shelf and hide it so that I might get into certain rooms with people. Because if I have to compromise any bit of who I am to get into a room and to be accepted by that room, I probably shouldn't be in that room anyway. It's probably not a room that God actually wants me to be in. Because God is never going to ask us. Here's what I'll tell you. Daniel chapter 1. Daniel is serving King Nebuchadnezzar, a pagan king, worshiping false gods. Daniel loves God and is serving under King Nebuchadnezzar in this pagan palace. And he's there. He's in a dark place. I'm all about it. I'm all about being in dark industries. I'm all about going into the world and being a light and being a builder and being an innovator and seeking those who are lost. I'm all about it. But what did it say when he was being presented with these delicacies? The king was making all of the guys work and eat these delicacies. Go read Daniel chapter 1. And he didn't want to eat these delicacies, Daniel, because he knew that they were sacrificed to these false gods. And so he made an appeal and he was like, hey, like, I'm down to work, but I'm not eating that stuff. Give me some vegetables and some water, and I'm actually going to be even stronger than the rest of these guys. Daniel purposed to not defile himself. He was in this place, but he set up these parameters. He was like, I don't even want to touch that stuff. And he was a peculiar person because of it. They were like, all right, man, we'll see how this works. He was so bold about his faith. He stood up for God, stood up for righteousness. The Bible said that God made him stronger than anybody else around him, anybody that was given into these delicacies. And he was more effective at his work than anybody else. It says that he was 10 times wiser than anybody else around him. And that's the type of influence that I think we need to have as Christians. It's like we're in the world, but we're not of the world. Like we really need to believe that God, if he's placed us somewhere, he's going to preserve us, and we don't need to try to play a game to stay in a place or to be promoted in a place like that. God will promote those that he wants to promote, and you will be promotable if you're faithful. That's my desire for you. My desire for all Christians, honestly, is in these days, while the world is more bold about all of the junk that they believe like never before, that people like you would be bold and say, you know what? If you're going to be unashamed in love, I'm going to be unashamed as well. But Lord, I just pray that you would bless Lecrae. I pray that you would keep him on the straight and narrow. I pray, God, that in any way where there's things that in his life that needs to come to the surface and he needs to get right before you, that you would lead him in that way. But God, I pray that you would establish his feet. I pray that he would be a light in that industry and not compromise. I pray, God, that he would lead people into the kingdom of God while he's there. I pray that he would enter a new season of like more favor, more boldness, more holiness. And he would, a massive harvest would come through his life. Lecrae, if you're probably never going to watch this, but if you do, I mean that sincerely, man. I wish you the best. I hope that you use what God's given you for his glory at the next level. But my opinions, they are what they are. And so I would encourage people, wherever God has called you to be above reproach in every way. I would like to know what your thoughts are in the comments. So let me know. God bless you guys. Love you. Hey, by the way, one final thing. If you want to help me, God bless you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe for more. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.